Is Abbotsford safe? If you're thinking about moving here, you've probably heard mixed things. Some people call it a peaceful city surrounded by farmland and mountains. Others point to crime stats that say it's not perfect. My name is Dilpreet. I'm a realtor here, and today I'm going to give you the truth about Abbotsford's crime, the neighborhoods you'll want to know about, and what it's really like to live here. But here's the deal. Every city has crime, and Abbotsford is no different. But it's important to look at the data and then balance that with what it actually feels like to live here day to day. I've lived here most of my life, and my experience is a mix of what the numbers show and what I see as a local resident. It's not all good, but it's not all bad either. Personally, I believe Abbotsford to be a safe city because I've never felt in danger, but everyone's perspective and experience is going to be different. I'm 6 foot, I'm a male, I play rugby, I have a build of a rugby player, so people are less likely to mess around with me. But if you're a woman and petite, maybe you're going to have a bit of a different experience and you might not like being in some parts of town. But at the end of the day, if you stay away from trouble, it's likely not going to find you. So let's start with the numbers. According to Area Vibes, Abbotsford's crime rates are overall lower than the Canadian averages. Abbotsford crime rates are 8% lower than that of in Canada, while violent crimes in Abbotsford are 31% lower than the national average. When it comes down to property crime, though, Abbotsford is at par with the Canadian national average. Abbotsford, though, is at least trending in the right direction for overall crime, as it's been reduced by 11% year over year. So violent crime is lower here than in a lot of other Canadian cities. So if you're comparing Abbotsford to bigger places like Vancouver or Surrey, it's often a safer feeling environment when it comes to personal safety. This is why I believe it's a better city to raise a family. And just like the rest of the lower mainland, Abbotsford does have its share of gang violence. It's improved immensely over the years because about 10-15 years ago, there was actually a major gang issue, I would say, in the city, but Abbotsford police have really stepped up, and there's still going to be the occasional shooting. It happens all over the lower mainland, especially in Langley and Surrey, even Vancouver, but I think we were way better off in Abbotsford, and the stats do show that. I have friends who are police officers in Langley and Surrey, and they talk about all the time about all the shootings that they're seeing and all the crime. So I think Abbotsford is definitely a better bet if you're looking for safety. The neighborhood you're in also makes a difference. If safety is your number one concern, there are definitely areas in Abbotsford that stand out. Places like Eagle Mountain, McMillan, Auguston, and Lower 10 Oaks are very family oriented. And these are all in East Abbotsford, so you do pay a bit of a premium for safety. When you drive through, you'll notice newer homes, lots of kids out riding bikes, neighbors that seem to know each other, and lots of schools and rec centers close by. And in the morning, you'll see kids, families walking to school. It is a safe area to be in. For me personally, my wife and I love going for walks in the McMillan area. We haven't recently, but she moved from there. So before we got married this past summer, she lived in the McMillan area, and you see lots of families walking dogs, kids at playgrounds. And, we never had any issues while walking around that area. It's not an area where you usually see a lot of homelessness or people openly using drugs, which is more common in central Abbotsford. Once I have kids, my wife and I are going to look to move into East Abbotsford, and we do believe it's a safer area. It's more friendly for, it's a better neighborhood for families, and we're willing to give up convenience from where we are now to keep our kids safer. Like I said, of course, not every area in Abbotsford is the same. You'll hear more concerns about crime closer to Historic Downtown and Central Clearbrook. I'm off Clearbrook right now, and don't see a lot of crime in the area of Clearbrook that I'm in, but you've got your pockets, especially near some shelters. There's definitely going to be some visible homelessness. There's some encampments around town. You definitely want to avoid those areas. The city's working hard to revamp Historic Downtown, but there are still homeless people, lots of foot traffic going through there. Earlier in September, my wife and I went to a festive drink tasting kind of festival, and we filled our stomachs with pastries and pumpkin spice. But as we were walking down to downtown Abbotsford, going down an alleyway, there was open drug use. My wife doesn't like to see it if I had kids. I wouldn't want them seeing that kind of stuff. So property crime and drug use are more common in places like central Abbotsford. I want to be clear, that doesn't mean these neighborhoods are dangerous. There are some amazing shops, restaurants, community spaces there. A lot of people live in central Abbotsford, but property crime and open drug use are more common in these pockets. And that's what the locals will point out to you. So if you're new to the city, it's good to know where these areas are, but I wouldn't write them off completely either. Many people, like I said, still live happily in these neighborhoods. There's even new developments, which are priced at a very desirable price point. So it's perfect for young professionals who are purchasing their first home. You get access to tons of shops and amenities, which are all in walking distance, but you kind of give up points for safety. And if you have young kids or family and you want them to walk to school, it's not going to be the place for you. But here's the truth. Abbotsford feels safer to me. I go for walks in the evening. My wife and I go for late night dessert sometimes. I teach and I coach, and parents are comfortable letting their kids walk to school and to practices, and it's never been an issue. So overall, it feels very safe to me. My wife is new to the city, and I asked her what she thought. She's come from living in Vancouver, where there were constant police sirens, lots of unstable people hanging around her apartment, and just overall a lot going on, a lot more foot traffic. And she said, compared to where she lived in Vancouver, Abbotsford is much safer, and that she has only felt uncomfortable when people were openly using drugs, we saw in downtown Abbotsford. So like anywhere, you take precautions. You lock your car, you don't leave valuables out, and you know which streets to avoid after dark. But for the average family or couple, day-to-day life here feels calm, suburban, and community-driven. So if you're planning to relocate here are 3 quick tips. Number 1, don't get scared off by the statistics. Most crime is opportunistic, and avoidable. Number 2, drive through neighborhoods at different times of the day and see how they feel in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. Because in some neighborhoods, there is definitely a different vibe depending on what time of day you go there. And the third and last point, talk to the locals. Whether it's neighbors, shop owners, or parents at the park, they'll give you an honest picture of what it's like to live here. And you need to realize that all these parents wouldn't be raising their families here if they didn't feel safe. So if you're serious about moving to Abbotsford, I'd love to help guide you through the neighborhoods so you feel confident in your move. My email and Calendly link are down below, so you can email me any questions that you might have, or if you're ready to talk, you can book a call with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.